Welcome to A Dose of Health, your quick but deep dive into practical health and wellness tips from New Jersey experts, all in 15 minutes or less. I'm Kate Cherichello Tente, a certified fitness professional and creator of Healthy in the Garden State. This mini-series is a part of our mission to spotlight the people, places, and resources helping to make New Jersey healthier. Therapy, but you walk and talk. And that is part of what we are talking about today. An avid hiker and nature enthusiast, Diana Lapp, LCSW, incorporates the healing power of nature through her work through walk and talk therapy, mindful hikes, women's circles, and retreats. She is the founder of Inner Strength Counseling Services and is passionate about creating spaces where women can slow down, reflect, and rediscover their strength through mindfulness, community, and the grounding energy of nature. Diana, thank you so much for being here today. And I just want to dive right in. Why walk and talk? Why not sit and talk?
Well, walk and talk is really passionate to me because I'm an avid hiker and I know firsthand the benefits of walking in nature, letting it reduce the stress and anxiety. It really clears my mental state and allows me to get rejuvenated to do the job that I do. It's just different than being crammed up in an office. And office therapy is just as powerful, but nature, you also have the natural elements to move things along differently.
Yeah. Are there certain differences that really stand out from your clients that you work with, having done both the in the office type of therapy and the outdoor? Are there certain changes or differences you see in those sessions?
What I see is that people open up a little bit quicker because we're
Mm.
not always looking at each other face to face like what we're doing right now. Traditional therapy, sitting across each other from an office or virtually what we're doing. And naturally, we're walking side by side. So maybe periodically we may look at each other, but we're really paying attention to the front part of our walking, the steps, and making sure we're not tripping over things, especially on a hiking trail. You might have roots and other debris that might get in the way. So you naturally just relax. And sometimes on the trail, you go behind a person or in front of the person. So you're not always looking at them. So that reduces the stress.
You know what, you saying that right now makes me immediately think of just, meetings I've had where meetings face to face are great, but I love a meeting where we're walking because it's giving different ideas, different perspectives. You're looking at people in different ways. You're talking about what you're seeing. You're connecting on a different level. So I'm so glad you mentioned that because it really does, whether it's therapy or even in something like a meeting, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. That's why I do walk and talk networking at the Middlesex Greenway. I meet up with people individually or as groups, and we experience it together. And it's great to do networking events indoors, but it's wonderful to like get outside together and really meet other professionals in the wellness field and therapists. And for us to take a break, sometimes we can't get outside. We try, but a lot of times we're just back to back with seeing clients.
It must be so good for you then too, absolutely, as the
Mhm.
provider to get to move and be outside. Now, Diana, how did you find this career path?
Oh, well, basically find walk and talk that I did a lot of research in 2024. I met other providers in the community in New Jersey and throughout the state. There's a really good book called Walk and Talk Therapy, a clinical guide by Jennifer Alder, who really helps define that. But overall, as a social worker, I got into it. My aunt's a therapist. She's a licensed clinical social worker like me. So having her as a role model, but then also being a part of AmeriCorps in college and really getting into the nitty gritty of volunteering, grassroots. My first experience was working at Elijah's Promise, the soup kitchen in New Brunswick.
Wow, that must have been an intense couple of years then too, working with AmeriCorps.
hmm It definitely was, but it was very powerful to meet people, go to conferences, and talk to people throughout the country, and to see like-minded people who want to help people with children or environmental issues or hunger or homelessness, and so much more.
Wow, incredible. And Diana, I'm curious, how can we make the most of our time in nature, even if it's just for 1 minute of stepping outside in the middle of the day?
Yeah, like especially right now, we are in the brute of like hardcore Arctic temperatures, and I think my it was like 6 degrees when I went to the gym. It is brutal out there, so I understand why people don't want to go out there. I go out there, but I dress it appropriately. But what you can do is bring nature inside. So if you want to crack open your window, look out the window, gaze and see what you see. Use your senses to really hone in on nature. If it's candles, essential oils, from past experiences when it's whether appropriate for you, maybe you went to the beach and you collected seashells. Like I love pine. So I ask my friend every year when she gets her Christmas tree to cut off needles for me so I can like bring them inside, boil them, and really bring back the pine barrens because it's a magical experience.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love the smell of pine too. I always have a pine candle at this time of year for sure. And
Yeah.
I also love even just cracking open a window, I'm finding is so refreshing. Even in like I did it before we got on here today, even though it's 6 degrees, it just gave this nice lift and this freshness. So really it makes such a difference, even when it's a very short amount of time or a very seemingly small way of inviting nature in.
Definitely. Like we're shoveling so much and like doctors tell us to be easy while we're shoveling this heavy snow and ice. That's where it's perfect moment you can pause while you're taking a break, like take a nice deep breath in or just a natural breath, whatever's comfortable for you and just soak in that moment. But then maybe you might hear the birds chirping, maybe there's some animals moving around or just listening to like maybe kids in the distance playing in the snow. And that few seconds can just regulate you.
Yes. And something I'm always wondering about with therapists. You hear people's struggles all day long, struggles and celebrations, but it runs the gamut. How do you take care of your own mental health with taking on so much?
Yeah, I mean, it's been super heavy lately, hearing a lot of distress, how the world is, or individual struggles. So, what I do is movement. Movement has been my key my entire life, is going to the gym. If it's hiking or walking outside, I try to do that between like 3 to 4 times a week in some kind of combination. I also am an avid concert person. I love music. I love dancing, singing, rocking out. It can be in my apartment dancing and while I'm cleaning and jumping around or going to metal shows or rock shows where I allow the vibrations like heal my soul.
Yes, I so agree with that. And, it was so much fun last season on Healthy in the Garden State. We got to do an episode on music and brain health, and we went to a music class for toddlers, and it was a great time. But there's so much, and there's so many more studies coming out all the time about all the health benefits of various aspects of being in nature, of music, of all of these good for us things. So I'm so glad there's people like you, who are highlighting them more and more each day. And I'm
Thank
curious,
you.
if you offer one-on-one counseling, but you also offer retreats and different groups. So can you share a little bit more about some of those other activities and maybe ways that people can connect with you either for those events or online if they're not in the area?
Yeah, so outside of like the therapy, like you're saying, so it's in-person walk and talk therapy in Middlesex County, New Jersey, virtual therapy sessions for New Jersey, Florida, and South Carolina, and then the community wellness events. So I partner up with other small businesses. I do charity events. The one event that's coming up is called Bloomfest in the spring of April 25th, and then Walk and Get Ink. It's a charity event for Hike for Mental Health. So I really embrace trying to make things accessible for people. I also offer mindful hikes, which is a reflect and wander, and the new one is Nature Detectives, a mindful hike for getting families out. It's really important to me to find ways that we can connect because one of the things I hear in sessions is that we're so disconnected. And nature, for me, has connected me with so many people through the hiking community. And I love what it's done for me. So I want to give it back. And during those times when we're doing those community events, we are doing some non therapeutic ways of just regulating our nervous system, allowing ourselves to be more at peace. So I'm so excited that I can offer that. And how you can find me is going to my website at Inner Strength Counseling Services LLC.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Diana underscore Lapp, LAPP underscore LCSW.
Excellent. And I appreciate the resources that you offer on your website and on your social media as well. So I encourage anyone listening to check those out. And Diana, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. And one of my favorite things to do, especially to de stress, is to be outside walking. So when I saw that you do this for therapy, this is amazing. I hope more people are encouraged to do that, whether they are therapists or they are people who are just looking for that moment of calm and reset. So, Diana, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kate. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to click that subscribe button on YouTube. And if you know someone who would enjoy this episode, please do share it with them. If you would like to connect, partner, or have a health topic that you would like us to feature, please reach out anytime at healthyinthegardenstate.com. Until next time, I'm Kate Cherichello Tente, and this is a dose of health from Healthy in the Garden State.